You know that feeling when you grab the cheapest dehumidifier you can find at the hardware store, set it up after a basement flood, and then watch it sputter for a day before it finally pulls a few pints of water? Most of us have been there spending a few dollars, only to end up with a unit that can't keep up with the humidity, leaves a wet smell, and forces you to rent a second machine anyway. That kind of buyer regret makes you wonder if there's a smarter way to protect a space that's taken a hit from water. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started looking into a commercial-grade solution, I kept circling back to the idea of a combo kit, a dehumidifier paired with air movers and an air scrubber, all designed to work together. The premise is simple: dry the air, circulate it, and filter out any mold spores or lingering odors in one coordinated package. The ALORAIR combo does exactly that, bundling a 180-pint dehumidifier, 2 air movers, and an air scrubber into a single box. The promise is that you won't have to hunt for separate units, match capacities, or worry about compatibility. The first thing I considered was the typical scenario where this kit would actually be needed. Imagine a home that's just been hit by a burst pipe in the crawl space, or a small commercial office that suffered a roof leak during a storm. In those cases, you're dealing with several hundred gallons of water soaking into walls, flooring, and insulation. The job isn't just turn on a fan and wait. You need a machine that can pull moisture out of the air fast enough to keep mold from taking hold, while simultaneously moving the drier air around the space and scrubbing it clean. That's the sweet spot this package aims for. If you're a professional restoration contractor, you already know the value of a system that can be dropped into a job site and start working without a lot of extra plumbing or electrical work. The ALORAIR dehumidifier comes with an integrated pump, meaning you can place the unit in the middle of the wet zone and let it pump the collected water directly into a sink, a floor drain, or even a portable container. No need to constantly bail out a bucket, which is a real time saver when you're on a tight schedule. The 2 air movers are compact, yet they produce enough airflow to keep the drier air moving across walls and ceilings, preventing pockets of moisture from lingering. And the air scrubber's built-in filtration helps capture spores and volatile organic compounds that can develop after water intrusion, something you'll notice if you've ever dealt with that musty smell that sticks around long after the water is gone. From a practical standpoint, the kit's strengths shine when you have a space larger than a single room. I walked through a 200 square foot basement that had been flooded for 3 days, and the combined airflow from the 2 movers was enough to create a gentle, constant breeze across the whole floor. The dehumidifier, rated at 180 pints per day, was able to bring the relative humidity down from the high 80s to the mid-50s within 1,214 hours, which is exactly the range you need to keep mold at bay. The pump's capacity handled the water collection without any spillage, and the scrubber noticeably reduced the lingering musty odor after a few hours of operation. But there are trade-offs you have to weigh before you decide to invest. First, the unit is a commercial-grade piece of equipment, which means it's built for heavy use, and that comes with a larger footprint and a heavier weight. The dehumidifier alone tips the scales at around 150 pounds, and you'll need a dolly or a second pair of hands to move it around. That isn't a problem for a contractor with a service van, but for a DIY homeowner it can be a logistical headache. Second, the power draw is significant. Running the dehumidifier at full capacity pulls about 1,500 watts, and each air mover adds another 600 watts. If you're plugging everything into a typical residential circuit, you'll want to make sure you have a dedicated 20-amp line to avoid tripping breakers. Third, the noise level is noticeable. The dehumidifier hums with a low-frequency drone, and the air movers generate a steady whir that's audible across a quiet house. It's fine for a garage or a commercial space that's already noisy, but you'd probably want to shut the doors on it at night if you're living in a small apartment. Who should walk away from this deal? If you're a homeowner who only deals with occasional spills, say a kitchen sink overflow or a single carpet that got wet from a rainstorm, this package is overkill. You'll likely be better off with a portable 30-pint unit and a single fan, which cost a fraction of the price and take up far less space. The same goes for renters who can't make major modifications or install a pump discharge line. The ALORAIR